In this activity, we will be exploring functions and how we can use functions to generate Morse code messages. So functions are a great way to package our code or put them together into something that is contained so that we can easily reuse it later. So with functions, we can give a specific sequence of blocks a name, and we can use that name to reuse or recall those blocks when we need them. Using function makes programs easier to read and to write. So let's start by building the functions for dots and dashes, because as you might recall, the Morse code alphabet is based on a series of dots and dashes that represent letters and numbers. Similar to what we did last time, we're going to create our dot and our dash first, only this time we're going to use functions. So grab the brand new do something block from the functions tab, and then just like last time, we want a splat to light up, we want a delay, we want that same splat light to turn off, and then we want a delay again to signal that we have finished sending our dot or our dash. So we're going to do the dot first, 0.5 seconds, and then turn the color off, and then delay it 0.75 seconds. So now is a great time to pause the video if you want to continue on by yourself creating the code for dash. We're going to continue our work. We're going to snap these blocks to our function, and we're going to rename it short, which stands for the dot. And then instead of doing this work all over again, I'm going to use duplicate, and I'm going to make some changes to make this my dash. So I'm going to rename this long. It represents our dash. Our dash lights up for a longer amount of time, so 1.5 seconds, turn the color off, and then a 0.75 second delay. Remember how I said that functions are like packages of code that we can name and then recall later? So now that we've created our short and our long functions, when you go to the functions tab, you'll notice that they're ready and waiting for us to use them. So we're gonna do what we did last time and send an SOS, only this time we're gonna use our brand new functions to do so. To build my SOS message, I'm going to go to starting, grab my when program starts, and I'm gonna give myself a little bit more room to work with. So when my program starts, I can either build my S3 short dots by putting together short, short, short. But if I was sending this code to someone else, or even looking at my own code later on, this would get very confusing just to see short, 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 long, long, long. So what we can do to help our code be even easier to read is we can create letters of the alphabet. So I'm going to go back to my function, grab my do something, and I'm going to name it the letter S. So the letter S is 3 short dots followed by a delay. So I'm going to go to short, 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 followed by a delay. And now I have a function for S, and when I go to functions, the letter S is waiting for me to use it. This is a great time to pause the video if you want to try making the letter O by yourself. Otherwise, you can follow along as I grab another function bar. And then, as you can recall, the letter O is 3 long dashes. So we're going to grab long dash, long dash, long dash, and then delay. And it is very important to remember to give your function a name. So this is going to be the letter O, and now O and S are waiting for me in my functions tab. So when my program starts, I'll send out an S, an O, and an S, and I'm going to run my program to make sure that it works the same way as last time when I used my dots and my dashes. And it looks great. Now that we have the hang of creating letters using our function blocks, I'm going to go ahead and create the rest of the alphabet. This is a great time to pause the video and create your own version of the alphabet using our Morse code guide. Check back in and we're going to create our first word together. You can see here on my screen that I have all the letters of the alphabet ready and coded now as its own function, and so they're waiting for me here under the Functions tab. You also might have noticed that I changed my delay from 1 second to 1.5 seconds. That's just my personal preference. I wanted a little bit more space in between my letters. You can make it as long or as short as you want, but I recommend that you make it something that you and your recipient are able to clearly understand so that you can know when you're transitioning from letter to letter. Let's try spelling out something to double check our work. So you can choose any word you want, but I'm going to code the word unruly. So go to when program starts, and when my program starts, I want my splat to spell out the word unruly. So I need U and N, R, U, and since we took the time to make the alphabet, I personally prefer this over doing 1 million dots and 1 million dashes, and it's so much easier to keep track of what words you've already spelled out. So U N R U L Y. So now is another great time to pause the video so you can spell out your own word and get a piece of paper and something to write with so that we can double check our work. Here I've zoomed in on my word unruly. When you have your word chosen and coded and you're ready to run your program, make sure you have that piece of paper and something to write with ready so that you can keep an eye out on your virtual splat. You want to make sure your splat is blinking out the correct number of dots and dashes and in the correct order. You don't want to spend all the time making an alphabet only to find out there are mistakes. So even the best coders in the world make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, and I'm going to check out my alphabet now to make sure everything is ready so I can send a message to crash in activity 3.